Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it today. Hey, I just wanted to share a little information that I found online, some news that came out from the VA yesterday, the 6th of March. And, again, this is going to be a short video. Just wanted to share with you so you're aware and you're in the know. So the headline is what caught me, and I didn't really read through it too much, just kind of skimmed through it and thought, you know what, I'm going to share this. So please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. So the headline here to get rolling is accessing new toxic exposure, healthcare, and benefits. The PACT Act expands VA healthcare and benefits for veterans exposed to toxic substances. All right, so this is from the news feed here, and the beginning of it just kind of, that was the title, and then it just kind of rolls into it. So I'm just going to read it and give my 2 cents or my interpretation of what they may be trying to say here. So you have, I'm going to read it. You have heard about the new PACT Act that implements millions of veterans. This law allows VA to provide more services to more veterans and survivors who have served and in areas where they were exposed to environmental toxins such as Agent Orange in Vietnam, burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan, or other herbicides or radiation exposure in other places around the world where veterans have served. The expansion of VA benefits and services eligibility is massive, and all veterans should see if it impacts them. You can check your eligibility at va.gov/PACT. There, so that's a little hyperlink there. Then it says, there you will be able to view your eligibility for all countries, conflicts, conditions, and other information to determine your next steps. To help you navigate your earned benefits and resources, VA created Accessing PACT Act Benefits and Services map. Download it, share it, follow it. There are 3 paths you should consider when applying for toxic exposure benefits. And it gives you, it's basically a little line map just going, if you do this, then do this, then do that, right? So it looks like it would be very helpful. It's a little bit small, and I don't have my my handy dandy readers on. So, but it does look like that would be a helpful tool. And I'll look at that later and decide whether or not it's something that needs to be talked about further. But I would encourage anybody to go ahead and click on that. Let's see. It said, veterans should reapply for PACT Act related claims if previously denied 20+ presumptive conditions for burn pits, Agent Orange, and other toxic exposures have been added. And then it just goes on, talks about, so there's some kind of sub-articles in here, which I'm not going to get into because I want to talk about what we just read. But the sub-articles are you enrolled in VA healthcare? And it probably just talks about how to get that. Joint toxic exposure registries, so doing the burn pit registry or what have you, and then that's the end of this. So what my take is here on this specific piece of information that the VA is pushing out in the news feed is essentially trying to get veterans to take that next step, right? A veteran, for example, who may have heard of the PACT Act and understand that it affects primarily Iraq, Afghanistan, Middle Eastern service. It also impacts some Vietnam folks with a couple extra conditions that were added. So they're trying to get the word out, and they're trying to drive veterans to explore on their own what may be available. Now, here's the reality. What they're talking about is presumptive conditions. So all that the PACT Act is doing, and I say all, but it's really a big deal, but the one thing that they're doing is they're creating a list of what the VA considers presumptive conditions. Okay? What happens here is that some veterans, for whatever reason, hear presumptive and they don't really understand what it means. They don't go any further. They don't really look any further. So I think that the VA is trying to kind of flip the script a little bit and say, hey, additional benefits, come here, check it out, see if you qualify, and try a different doorway into the getting vets to realize what they may be entitled to. So for those that don't know or understand how the process really works, typically for a claim with the VA, you need to establish a few things when you file that claim, right? The VA is not going to do you any favors just because you feel like a condition that you have is due to or as a result of or manifested during your time in service doesn't really make it so. So you need to do your due diligence and package up all of the applicable evidence, okay, when you file your claim. Now what we're looking at here is typically kind of three things. There's obviously little slivers off of everything, but for the most part, you need to have a block of active duty time, right? This gives you a window of opportunity. Number two is you need to have a diagnosed condition. You just saying you have X doesn't count. You need to be able to show the VA that, yes, a medical doctor has diagnosed me with X. Kind of a sliver off of that diagnosed piece for folks to understand is your diagnosed condition must be chronic in nature or have some sort of residual effects. It can't be, I had this bad thing and now it's completely gone and now I'm 100% better. Now, there are some exceptions to that even, and that's the world of the VA, right? It's just full of nuance. You could have cancer, then no cancer, and then your cancer is rated at a 0%. So, you're not getting compensated for it, but you are rated for it. But if you break your arm and then the break in your arm is fully repaired and you're 100% back to normal during your time in service, you're not going to get rated for the fact that you had a broken arm that they fixed because they fixed you 100%. There has to be a chronic issue or a residual effect to the condition in which you're claiming. So back to the three main things, right? So active duty time, diagnosed condition. Third thing would be what they call a nexus, a link between your condition that you're claiming and your time in service. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the military service caused that condition. What they mean is, did it show up during your time in service, right? So obviously, if you got injured during your time in service doing something for your job, whatever it was, right? I will make something up. You're a mortarman and your foot's underneath the base plate when you're going to sink the base plate. Probably not a good place for your foot to be. Now your foot gets smashed and you have some issues with your foot. Obviously, that is going to be a service connectable condition and you would have all that stuff documented. Now, let's say that you come down with migraines. And you never had migraines before, but now all of a sudden you're getting migraines during your time in service, and they're considered to be an ongoing problem, right? They're chronic. You have chronic migraines. It's not one migraine and you're done. You have had multiple migraines and you continue to have multiple migraines. So you have a chronic migraine diagnosis. Now you'll be able to file for that. The problem for some people, though, is that they have a hard time proving that the migraine started in service because all they did was take a bunch of Motrin, drink water, and move on, and they never wrote anything down, right? Never saw a doctor, never saw a medic about it, where the medic would actually write anything down. So there's other ways to bridge that gap, but for the purpose of this video, that's really what you're looking for to establish a nexus for your condition, of which then you're able to file your claim. What the PACT Act does is it eliminates the need for a nexus. This is the huge part, right? So now, if you never documented during your time in service to prove, right, that it started in service, that's fine. If you have a presumptive condition, you're diagnosed with it. If you have a diagnosis for a presumptive condition, and you served in a designated area that has that specific condition listed as a presumptive, then you're golden. All you need to do is basically show the VA, yes, I served. Here's my block of time. I served in that specific location during that time frame of which there's a presumptive condition here listed of which I have and I'm diagnosed for. Bam, here's all the information. You will get service connected for that condition. So that's really all this thing is about. I think that they're just trying to do a different angle to get vets to click the link and open it up to see what conditions are there. Because I think that a lot of folks aren't reading it. And I'll throw in there the other good thing that they said was if you were denied before, reapply, because they just started approving these in January. So if you filed a claim 2 years ago for sinusitis, right, or rhinitis, and now and you got denied then, and you threw your arms in the air and you went, screw the VA, all that stuff, which a lot of us do, and you walk away, well, guess what? You better come back knocking, because now you're going to get approved and you're going to get some good ratings if you file things appropriately. All right, with that, I'll go ahead and end it here. Thanks so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.